Besson-Silla. She is producer on the film. You don't have to applaud. It's a press conference. Our director, Luc Besson. You couldn't help yourselves, I like it. One of our two stars here today, Cara Delevingne.
Okay.
Okay, whoops and stuff are appropriate. And our other star of the film, Valerian himself, Dane Dehaan.
It's not appropriate for either person.
All right. So I'm just going to ask a couple of questions just to lead us in. But Luc, you saw this film. You read the books as a 10-year-old. What were your impressions of the books then? And how did that translate to what you're putting on film now?
At 10 years old, the comic book was very new, very fresh. It was this team, Valerian and Laureline, going through space and time and have like incredible adventures, meeting a lot of aliens in different worlds. So I didn't have internet at the time. So the only thing I had was Valerian. So that was my entire internet. And so I get really falling in love with them and follow the 29 albums, waiting for them. And so that's part of my life.
Tell me about these two lead characters here and how these two individuals fit your idea of casting.
So first, I know Valerian and Laureline very well, so I can guide myself when I met actors and actresses. And I was impressed, both of them, when I met them. They really fit with the image I have from Valerian and Laureline. And just after that, I just have to be sure they're serious, they're concerned, they're ready to work. The only thing I don't want to hear is like, yeah, why not? Yeah, let's do the film. I need to be sure that they're passionate. Yeah. And I was lucky because they matched my And I'm honestly, now I can say to you, they're amazing to work with. And the last day of shooting, we cried so much. So I just can't wait for the second.
Dane and Cara.
Yes.
Did he weigh heavily on you? Give you any specific tips? I mean, he knew the characters by heart. What kind of words of advice did he give you folks?
He really didn't give us any really episode even that. No, joke, by the way.
Yeah, you know, it took maybe, I'd say, a week of being on set with Luc and hearing what he wanted and who he thought Valerian was. You know, it was a process, and it was almost something that was an unspoken exploration. But when I got it, he always let me know I got it. And slowly, I think Valerian was formed, but you know, by the end, it was just kind of, we had this language to go back and forth to make the characters come to life. The characters were there, you know, we lived with them for so long that they were just a part of us.
Really felt like he kind of wanted to reach that place naturally as well, so kind of guiding us instead of really telling us what he wanted. It was more that we kind of did it together and we could find that in ourselves and kind of get to that place as naturally as possible. It felt that way, especially kind of the first time we worked together. Kind of almost that first reading that we did, it didn't really go. I mean, obviously we got into the characters a lot more, but even that initial first meeting, I think when we read it through, you could just feel it. That's when it really hit me how exciting it was going to be.
What I try also on the schedule is all the important scenes in terms of emotion or fighting together or things like this. I've put them more on the second half of the film. So we start by the first 2 weeks by things were a little more easy to play to give them the time to fit the character. But you have to understand that almost every shot, it's blue screens everywhere, so it's very difficult for them to catch the character and follow the path.
Virginie, I understand you're not exactly a sci-fi fan per se. What was it about this script and these characters that made you agree to produce?
I think I love the joy that there was in the script and in the film, how colorful it was, and also the relationship between Valerian and Laureline. I think anyone can relate to it. And I love the fact that it was grounded because of this, the human relation in it. So.
Actually, I think you can transfer the same team today as two cops, and you will have basically the same film. You know, it's really the story of the two teaming together and trying to resolve problems. Except that on the 20th century, the problems are bigger. And the chase are also bigger.
Cara,
Good cops. They're all that. So yeah.
Cara, you good cop. You're falling in line with a director who has a history of ass-kicking female leads. How did you approach the role? What was your thoughts when you got that cast?
It's kind of one of the most incredible experiences I've ever had in my life, but also definitely one of the most daunting. To kind of, again, fall in line with a long line of incredible, strong female characters, which there aren't enough of. And Luc is, one of the forefront of people who've done that, and I really love it, and it's just been so exciting. Really. Stop.
And Dane, how do you combat that? Tell me about the chemistry on set with you folks.
I feel like our chemistry was kind of there from the start, I mean, we had, in a lot of ways, it was just fun. Our job was to have fun with each other, joke around with each other. And, Cara's really...
Great job.
Cara's really easy she's so much fun to be around. She's just full of life and, has a really kind of quirky personality. And whereas I'm someone maybe that can take myself too seriously almost all the time, Cara was always there to keep me in line in that way and make sure I was having fun and joke around. And like in the middle, I think we met and there was just this fun but serious when it had to be relationship that we formed. That was, it was just a blast.
It was so good as well having Dane, because I think so many of the points I had no idea what was going on. With so much blue screen and so many things that are meant to be animals and creatures, and I just would always ask Dane what was going on. He was like, why do you think I know? It's like we were just together in that partnership of just like Luc guiding us through the madness, which was just so special.
So you mean that every time you say to me,
No, I didn't. Smile away. No, just cat. I mean,
Makes sense now.
You know what's going on. It's always you sitting there and you feel so good. You have a lot of stuff written down, but you sit there and you're like going through all the shots just in your head. I was like, okay, I'm just going to do that. He knows what's going on. I don't need to know.
All right, how about some questions out here? Right here in front.
What for Luc? I mean, obviously, such as Star Trek and Star Wars have taken us to interplanetary worlds. So what artistic challenge is it for you to create something new and different that audiences haven't seen before? And for the actors, just talk a little bit about when you have to work so much in CG and green screen, what type of artistic challenge is it for you? Because it's not just a case of making characters.
I think the only thing you can broad is yourself. So I'm not trying to look, I'm a big fan of Star Wars and I love all those films as a moviegoer, but when it comes to interpret the thing by myself, I come with my history, my knowledge, and if you ask a question to a painter, Modigliani, care about what Picasso was doing. He decided to make girls with a long neck and a black eye, and that was his thing. And so I don't think about that, in fact. I'm just following, sometimes when I'm writing, I'm laughing by myself, because I think it's funny. Or sometimes I cry by myself. So I think it's good. Working with a lot of designers around the world, some of them from China, Brazil, France. I worked for almost 3 years with a bunch of like 8 creators, more crazy one than the other, and just nuts. They should be on the hospital. And they come with stuff was just like, sometimes you watch the thing and say, how the guy can think about a creature like this. And so there's stuff that I can't take, it was too much. But I try to be the filter, and try to, between the 29 comic books, my imagination, and the help of these 12 geniuses that I work with, we create this world. We take like really our time. It takes almost 3 years to really create everything. But when we start the film, I have designs on all the creatures of the film. I can show them and say, here, that's a Martapois, that's a Carrion.
I can't believe you managed to fit it into this film. That's what's so insane. Because to see the journey of all the illustrations and the process from the beginning, the amount of those balls and the most incredible drawings I've ever seen, I was like, wait, this is meant to be 1, 2 animals. Like, how did you do that?
You're all in.
Yeah.
Well, to me, the CG goes back to imagination, which is kind of for me where it all began. These movies, the sci-fi, whatever comic book kind of movies, they're such a great excuse to go back to when I was a kid and I was like dressing up and playing like superheroes or whatever. And that's all there is your costume and your imagination. And Luc telling you what the world is around you, but you don't really know what it's going to look like. So I just create it in my mind and I follow that, and there's something really kind of innocent and freeing about that process if you don't take it too seriously and you mind yourself over to Luc's vision and to what's going on. I think it can be almost childlike in nature, the work.
All right, right in the middle on the second row there. You, yes.
Yes, hi. This question is for the director. I was wondering,
Speak up.
the Chinese actor, Mr. Wu Weifan, how did you cast him, and what kind of character he played?
I met him. He's a very sweet guy, pretty good actor, and he's playing a captain on the army. So he spent a lot of time with Sam Spruill and Clay Bowen. He's on the army side, and he was pretty good in it. I like him. He's a good guy. The only problem with shooting with him is to have all these 12 years old Chinese girl screaming on the bars of the studio. That was the only.
English-wise, he is okay with it.
Sorry?
English-wise, he can speak English.
Yeah, he has to work on it. We push him, I push him, because sometimes I can't understand.
Next.
The thing is, sometimes I can't understand my English too, so that's fine.
Happy families.
All right, how are you?
What's up? My name is Valerian. I just want to throw that out there because it sounds like a so.
Yes.
What are, anybody can answer, what are 3 things you would want fans to know going into the film? What are 3 things you would want them to really focus on, or what you want them to know before seeing the movie or going into the film?
Can I answer?
Yeah.
What are three things you'd like fans to know going into the film?
Personally, honestly, my wish is if you can just trust me once, try to know nothing and just sit down. That's my wish. If you can trust me enough. I made 17 films, so watch a couple of them and decide if you can trust me or not. If you can trust me, just sit down, take your popcorn, and see you in 2 hours.
Oh, it's a super physical film. You know, it's a lot that goes into. It's a lot of what it's about when you make a film like this, and you have to look like somebody that can save the universe. Is you then have to look like someone who can save the universe, and you know, so the training for me was a huge part. Not only how I looked physically, but also the mentality going into each day. You know, I would just kind of show up in the morning and I would work out before we got to set, and it would just pump me up for the day. You know, and it would just kind of put me in that Valerian mentality, ready to take on challenges, and put me in a super positive mood, and made me able to do what was asked of me. You know, there's a lot. Valerian is a really great soldier. He can do a lot of different things, and he's very physically capable, so it was important that I got stronger and faster throughout the process.
Got time for 2 more questions. Yes, right there. Yes.
Question for Virginie. As a husband and wife team, did you find it challenging at times?
How do you know we're married?
No, it's not challenging. We've been working for. We've been working together for 17, 18 years, and I've been producing Luc's films for, it's the 5th film I think we did together. And we've just learned to respect each other's part and role, and it's easier to talk together, and I think I can see easily what he has in his head as well. So I think it turns out to be a good teamwork.
What's interesting is for a long time, she was producing and I was producing in the same company, but we were scared a little bit to work together because we go back home with the kids and we don't want to fight or anything. So we wait for a long time, and then one day there's one film that she really liked, and I said, okay, let's try. We were nervous, but she's so good that now it's my film.
Got time for 1 more. Right there.
What makes Valerian visually or emotionally distinct from other science fiction films of its present filmmaking?
If I did my job well, I think you will see it right away when you watch it. But I can't say it.
I just think that the answer is Luc. You know, I think, I really do. Like, I think Luc has a very distinct style. He's got a very distinct, unique taste, and this movie captures that. And without Luc, you can't have that. That's it. You know?
All right. We got to wrap up. We got to be on stage in 24 minutes. So thank everybody for coming.